from the left side.
I felt like it was just about ready to go.
Yeah, that one was pretty close.
All right, so what I've done is I've rearranged things, flipped the crossbar upside down so that the wheels are a little farther out. And what I'm gonna do is kind of think about, like, you know, sometimes you get in awkward situations, like you're reaching for the fish and you know, like it was kind of tippy, right? Notice how that wheel went in the water, right? And so, you know, like, whoa, I don't want to tip, right? Now, what if that was a balloon tire, and would it help, like, with tipping, right? Because it's like, I'm kind of, you know, if you don't balance and if you get it, you can rock this thing pretty good, right? Whoa! You know, if you don't balance and if you get it, you can rock this thing pretty good, right? Whoa! If you'll notice really carefully when you watch this video, the kayak just reaches that tipping point, and I'm hanging right in between recovering and tipping right at this point, and I captured that so you can kind of see exactly where things are at. So notice that the freedom bracket on the right hand side, you know, the top of it's at about at the water line. Yeah, I've reached kind of the top of the gunnel. The cup holder's underwater, and the right wheel is submerged, and I'm going over, and that is basically, you know, your danger point. So that's what I found out in this test. You know, if you don't balance and if you get it, you can rock this thing pretty good, right? Whoa! Hey, welcome to the Wilder Side. Today I'm going to be talking about what I'm going to be doing with my Bigwater. I'm going to be upgrading it and preparing it for a test. So what are we up to? What's the test going to be about? As you can see, those legs on that Bigwater slant in so that they're nice and tight. They're not perpendicular to the crossbar. They tuck in like 8 degrees. And what I'm going to be doing is flipping the crossbar upside down so that those legs splay out, not in. The purpose is, with balloon tires, I'm going to test to see whether you get some sort of an outrigger effect when the legs are slanted out with some 13-inch beach tires. I'm going to be heading down to Mississippi to meet up with a customer down there. We're going to be doing some testing out on the water, where hopefully in a few days it's going to be sunny and in the mid-70s, much better than 48 degrees here in Peoria, Illinois. So that's what David's up to, Wilderside's up to, and if this is successful, we'll think about how maybe we can even improve the outrigger capability with the design of the Freedom Launcher. So more about that to come, but I wanted to give you a heads up on what we're doing. Till next time, tight lines. Hey, this is David. So I finished up my work, and hopefully you can tell that those legs are much further apart. The only trick about it is that because you effectively have swapped sides on the freedom brackets, you also have to swap legs. So this is on the left side, but it's the right leg, so that when it comes down, the axle holes line up and are you know, true and ready to go. That's the only trick when you're doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the balloon tires on just to show you what it's gonna look like. Okay, so I wanted to finish up this job and just show you basically what the width is of those tires when the legs are splayed out 8 degrees. So we're looking at pretty close to 55, 56 inches right there. So 56, is that like 28 inches? So basically you almost have about 28 inches from the center to that tire for flotation. You can see that it's well outside the the edge of the kayak. It probably will act a little bit like an outrigger, although, you know, if you made a stronger angle, it would do even more. I'm not sure I want to do that yet, but so just a little hint. So any of you that have 8-degree legs and an 8-degree crossbar, you can simply flip the crossbar upside down and have the angle going out instead of in. Reinstall the freedom brackets, swap the legs, get yourself some balloon tires with the extra long axle here so that it'll fit a balloon tire. These are 5/8 axles, so you need a tire that will fit a 5/8 axle. You can see that that's a nice tight fit. These are 16mm tires, which we sell. I have a small quantity online or in inventory. Maximum payload per wheel is 121 pounds, so times 2, you know, if it's equally, it's 240. I have not had any problems that I know of so far with customers rupturing them due to load. So yeah, anyway, this is what we're going to be taking down to Mississippi to do a bit of a field test. We'll keep you posted on how it goes. I guess, you know, I flipped it once with the regular wheels, and I think this definitely helped a little bit. I mean, every little bit helps, right? But probably if I, you know, brought the legs out even farther, that would help more. But I've got to have room for the leg to deploy, so I can only move it so far before I start to have clearance and interference issues with both the kayak as well as the rudder deploy lever. You got to mess around a little bit with that. But I'd say overall it was a pretty successful test. I don't know if I really want to flip it a second time. I'm sure I could if I wanted to hard enough. But
yeah, I think once is good.
But I think it helps.
Yeah, definitely. I think you got this one definitely over halfway over that time, and then it looked like it kicked back up.
Yeah. I think it's definitely making a difference.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
It's an idea worth pursuing. I think I'll try the next time I try something. I might try the legs out even a little bit further.
Yeah, we'll hit the water center.
More of that boost. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, David, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you letting me check out your neck of the woods and doing the camera work. Couldn't have done it without you.
Yes, sir.
David Deere, if anybody's interested, check out his channel. He's got some really cool stuff on fishing and as well as golfing. On both YouTube. What else, David?
YouTube and TikTok.
YouTube and TikTok. So David Deere, YouTube and TikTok. Yeah, I'll try to include more information down in the description if you want to check out his channel as well. Till next time, tight lines. You can mark this thing pretty good, right? Whoa! just like that. Okay, so you can notice that I'm in the water. It's April. It's a little bit cold, and my chest started to tighten up, and I was having a hard time catching my breath. Just because I really wasn't expecting to go under at this point in time. So what happened next was pretty spontaneous. I was planning to do this, but honestly, this is the very first time that I had flipped and fallen out of a kayak since I was a kid. Well, that was unplanned. You'll notice that, you know, without even looking, I was able to very easily deploy the wheel and the leg. So now, since it's upside down, the leg is up. And I'm going to use that as a lever to at least attempt to rotate the kayak over. And, you know, to be very honest, I'd kind of rehearsed this in my head. I've never done this before in my life. This was a first time for flipping the kayak, a first time for attempting to use the deployed leg as a lever to flip it over. and you'll see, you know, the results of how this works versus what you watch, you know, from some other videos where they say to have a strap on your kayak and flip it over and, you know, use it as a roll bar. At the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with how this next segment rolled. So collect yourself. I'm going to try just to get in the normal way, which would be to reach across or from the edge. Paddle's kind of in the way. The water feels pretty good, by the way, David. I'd recommend you try it. So I was in water over my head, and I mean, literally, this is the very first time I've tried to re-enter my kayak from the water. Really any kayak as an adult. And you know, as I reflect back on the whole process, you can see I'm pretty well over the hump. I've got my body mass pretty well in the center of the kayak, and I make my way in. As I look back on this, it was a lot harder actually to flip the kayak over than it is to actually re-enter the kayak from the side once I had it upright. So that's my experience. All right. So that wasn't too bad. Okay, so you'll notice that I have the landing gear down, and you know why, I don't know. I kind of still discombobulated at this point in time. But I will say, actually, you know, having the landing gear down, putting that weight lower in the water actually is going to add the stability to a kayak. And in fact, like if you're trolling or even just like stationary, I'd recommend actually putting the wheels down. They're going to act a little bit like sea anchors. Those tires are going to grab the water, and so no harm done if you're really not wanting to go anywhere. Putting weight further down is just almost like ballast below the water line. That's actually not a bad thing. And I wasn't thinking that at the time. I was just trying to survive the moment. But anyway, but I'm fresh. I'm fresh. You know, it's like I haven't been out fishing all day. What happens if you're tired? One thing that they recommend is you always, you know, practice recovering in a kind of a relatively safe location. Hopefully with a buddy that can help you if you have any problems, right? So I traveled, you know, nearly 1,000 miles to do this experiment because, you know, April, it's cold in Illinois and Mississippi. I just took I-55 straight south. It's about the easiest way to go. Number one, so it was a warmer climate. It was a beautiful day. It was nice temperatures. And number two, David Deere is a martial arts instructor, and he's lean and mean, very fit guy, and so I was pretty confident that if I got into a pickle, he was going to figure out a way to help me and assist me. Fortunately, I was able to perform the test without his assistance other than great camera work. And David Deere, thank you so much again for helping me out there. And check out his channel. He's got a pretty cool YouTube and TikTok channel. So thanks, David, for being the cameraman and helping this test be successful. All right, I'm going to recover my paddle. And talk about what I just learned. So, the funny thing is, I was planning to do that experiment a little bit later in the day. I was just kind of warming up to it. And I've never flipped the kayak before, right? But I was kind of trying to see just how stable it was if I was kind of off center and balanced. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that it flipped and I wasn't even trying to flip it. I was purposely trying to rock it, and we went over. I did use the leg, extended it, gave me some leverage to flip the kayak around, and even that it was a little bit challenging, but it got the job done. So now, what I'd like to try to do is put some balloon tires on this and see if it resists the flipping motion, even just a little bit, with a little bit of extra buoyancy on the side. This is David. We'll catch you next time with the balloon tires.